Shiren the Wanderer is a hard game by design, and the Tower of Fortune and the Dice of Fate is no exception. There's not much of an intro except that Jirokichi's beloved is sick, and he's off to the towers to try and change her fate. Shiren and his buddy Koppa, of course, can't let him go at it alone. The good thing is, this means that you generally won't be scavenging the floors of the Tower of Fortune by yourself. With Jirokichi by your side, and any help, really, is much appreciated. Before going off, you have the option to participate in tutorial missions and win items per completion. It started out with about a dozen tasks that teach you basic things, from walking diagonally to learning that you can't strike around corners of walls. Then even more complex lessons open up that teach about things like cursed items and being wary of traps. Doing all the tutorials at once is a handful, and I found it best to get going once I got the gist of the combat. I made my way to an even bigger town with shops I couldn't indulge in since I barely had Gatan, the game's currency. There were some interesting shops like a license shop that lets you buddy up with a monster, and a point shop that gives you a card to fill as you make your way through levels. I knew before I went off to the main quest to leave my extra items in Gatan in the storage, since I was warned I'd lose them if I died. And that's exactly what happened, over and over again. Fighting monsters is straightforward with you hacking at them with any weapon you found on the ground. You quickly level up and gradually, so do your equipped items, becoming tougher and more useful. The main quest typically involves making your way through 5 areas of Destiny Trail to make it to the base of 3 towers, past, present, and future, which in difficulty are easy, medium, and hard respectively, even though the Tower of the Past can have some surprising challenges already. The biggest surprise when fighting monsters is that they can level up, especially when they kill a party member, evolving into greater monstrosities that are way ahead of your current level. So you get blindsided and die, losing all your items and dropping back to level 1. It could be as if you never adventured in the first place. The Tower of Fortune and the Dice of Fate utilizes the VITA's online feature by letting other wanderers volunteer to revive you if they happen to have a revived grass. In this feature, it seems better if you had friends who actively play the game. What are the chances that other players wouldn't simply use the revive grass for themselves, especially since you lose all your items when you die? I tried leaving my file overnight waiting to be revived, but no luck. If you're fortunate to make it back to the floor you died, you'll find your equipped items scattered on the floor and Jirokichi waiting for you. With every playthrough, there are random factors that can help you out. For instance, if you manage to gather 1,500 Gatan by the time you reach the base of the towers, you can hire Tao, who's mighty helpful, since she wields a boomerang that can strike many enemies at the same time. You can also volunteer to be Kujiruta's servant who helps you out in the Destiny Trails, and will be there for you should you fall so early. After reaching the top of the Tower of the Past, Okan came to me and volunteered to be another of my hired guns. A cool thing about her is that she can turn into random monsters when she attacks. She has a list where you can choose which monsters you'd like her to turn into, and when you die, she retains the form she's learned. Should any of your allies turn into a gravestone, tossing an herb at them will bring them back to life. After completing the first tower, 2 things happened that surprised me, and not necessarily in a good way. One was that I was still back to level 1, but this time I was fortunate to keep and store all my items in Gatan. 2. I figured before I'd venture into the harder Tower of the Present, I'd at least level my equipment by venturing back into the Tower of the Past, but I was blocked from entering, so I couldn't even do that. In many ways, it felt like it was back to square one. Sure, this time I could afford to maybe hire a decent monster, but should I risk losing all that fortune? Apart from the main quest, you can talk to the people in the town, some of whom have odd requests like the hunter Genoshin, who loves his catnip juice, and a hungry boy who devours your tasty onigiri. Others invite you to participate in minigames that are a diversion but aren't too engrossing. Using the points card and shopping before you go crawling into dungeons again is tough because you lose your points card when you die and have to pay 1,000 Gatan to have another one reissued. Where are you supposed to get the Gatan to pay for that, especially if you steadily withdraw from your storage and can't retrain in the easier tower? You also can't backtrack to a previous floor once you've advanced. Likewise, there are many characters strolling around Destiny Trail, the main quest starting area, who offer to find you unique items at times for a sizable price, so the chances to avail of their services are rather limited. Crafting is also in this game, where you drop your item, like a sword or a mallet, in a pot and come back for it in real time tomorrow. Hopefully it will be much stronger by then, or a few days after. Be careful though, because leaving it in the pot for too long will make it obsolete. The The game's simplistic visuals are charming, and they complement the game's simplistic but surprisingly deep dungeon crawling elements. It's easy to identify items, enemies, and decorated characters. The music is great to listen to, and I immediately appreciate its folksy Japanese tunes. There are also fun drum beats that congratulate you for leveling up. If you've been dying to play a high-stakes roguelike dungeon crawler for your PS Vita, then few are as seasoned as Shiren the Wanderer, the Tower of Fortune, and the Dice of Fate. Peaches can ripen for better effects, and you can preserve them in pots, also to expand inventory space. Intricacies such as these show that there's more to every adventure than slicing down monsters and collecting loot. Be prepared though, because you won't have much of a chance to get too attached to how far you bolstered Shiren, or how well you've upgraded your katana, because all it takes is one fell swoop. As sad as it is to lose your level and items, there's a bit of excitement to be had in seeing which new, possibly better equipment you might stumble upon. Another way to look at Shiren is that it may not be a title meant to be played in long sittings, but instead one to turn on day by day for you to roll the dice and hope that your fortune has changed for the better.